Alright, this is going to be a quick tutorial on how to get a simple test sketch running on your Arduino Uno. Arduino Uno is usually the first microcontroller board that most people get started with, so we're going to get started with that one. Others behave very similarly, and this code will work on those as well. But let's go ahead and get started. So we have an Arduino Uno here, and we want to just write a simple test sketch to make it do something. When you first open the Arduino IDE, which is what this whole interface is, this is what you're going to see is it's going to say void setup and void loop. We have to put code in here to make it do something, so let's go ahead and make it do something like print something to the terminal over and over. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is in our setup loop is we're going to do serial.begin. And we're going to enter what's called a baud rate here. That's what that 9600 is. You're going to see a lot of other numbers, like 9600 is a popular one, 115,200 is another popular one. Just go with use 9600 for this case. And then on the end of each line in here, you always got to put a semicolon, which some coding languages call that a suppressor, I believe. Not sure why, but you know, if you don't put that there, it'll whine and cry and give you all kinds of error messages. But okay, so that's all you got to do for the setup function, and then you come down to here to your loop, and this is where you put code that you want it to continuously do. So in this case, we want it to print something to the terminal over and over, let's just say every second. So we're going to do that by doing this. You can just use serial.print, but that will print something continuously on a single line, and it'll look it'd be all like jumbled together and not as easy to read, and it won't look as cool. So we commonly will use serial.println, and that'll print every time it runs through this block of code, it'll print something on a new line, which looks a little cleaner. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And then we'll put in here what we want it to print to the terminal. So in this case, we just want to test it out and make sure it's working and make sure we can successfully upload code to it. So here we'll just say, you know, hello, I'm working correctly. That's not how you spell working. And we'll just have it print that over and over. And we're going to want it to just do this every second. So to do that, we're going to put a delay here, because if we don't, it'll just do it as fast as it can process information, which is, I don't know, it'll just quickly fill up the screen and not really look like it's doing anything. This is in terms of milliseconds, so we're going to put 1,000 in here, which will give us 1 second. Obviously put our suppressor on the end there, and that's it. So we're going to go ahead and upload this to our board. The last thing you got to do before you upload something to your board is obviously plug it into any USB port on your computer, and then make sure you have the right COM port selected first. So first we're going to do that by going to Tools, go into Port, and then here, yours is probably going to look different. Not everyone's is going to say the right COM50. Yours might say COM5, COM2. It doesn't matter. Everyone's going to be different, and this usually is different every time you plug it in. So just make sure you have a COM port showing up here, and that it's the one corresponding to the device you have plugged in. In this case, I have an Arduino Uno plugged in, so that's the one it's showing up as. Yours might show up as something else. It doesn't matter. As long as there's a COM port here that you can select, you should be good. You're going to select that, and then also you want to make sure that right here it says the name of the board that you're using. In this case, again, we're using an Arduino Uno, but if it didn't, if it said something else there, you would change that right here. You'd go to board manager, this, and then select Arduino Uno. And then you can also verify that that's configured correctly always. Down here in this right-hand corner, you'll always see it'll show the name of the board and what COM port you're on, and this is a good sign. This means it's configured correctly. If it wasn't, it would say something like not connected or something like that. So we're all set to go here. So now we're going to upload this code to our board by clicking this button here and just waiting a couple seconds. Something like this, really small, simple sketch will only take a few seconds to upload, or should. And all right, cool, it's done, it works. So let's go ahead and open our serial terminal and see if it's working. And it is. So it's printing exactly what we put here in the parentheses every second over and over on a new line, which is again that's what that ln does. So yeah, this, like I said, just a quick simple tutorial to show you how to just get a simple test sketch running on your Arduino Uno, since that's usually the board most people start out with when they start tinkering with microcontrollers and all kinds of cool projects. Yeah, I'll post a link to the code if you want to copy and paste it instead of just following along with me here to test your board out and see if it's working. All right. Yeet.